On this episode of Soup and Stuff, Soup sits down with the newest Milken Educator Award winner, Principal Andrea Trio. Filled with incredible leadership, Madison Elementary has solidified itself as a staple in youth education and represents the pinnacle of positive impact schooling imparts on its students. Andrea was awarded with $25,000 as she was selected for which many call the Oscars of teaching. And the Milken Foundation has granted over 3,000 awards totaling over $70 million. This award introduces Andrea into a powerful network of like-minded educators and provides developmental tools to continue bringing success to Madison Elementary and her community as a whole. So prepare to learn from the best in this week's Soup and Stuff.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Soup and Stuff presented by the Pine Room Studios. We're sitting here with a very special guest out of Wheeling, West Virginia, principal of Madison Elementary, Miss Andrea Trio. Thank you so much for joining us today. We wanted to first off congratulate you for being one of the award recipients of the Milken Educator Award. That is awesome for the Ohio Valley, for the Ohio County schools. I can only imagine what it means to you and what your life has been like the past couple of weeks. So kind of just start us off with hello and thank you again. And what's your past couple of weeks been like?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to just share a little bit about how I'm feeling and, the way that I'm absorbing all of this. And, of course, getting to promote such an amazing school in an amazing county. So thank you. Being the principal of Madison Elementary is certainly one of the most rewarding experiences that I've had in my professional career. Receiving the Milken Award for somebody discovering and finding goodness in me and reaching out to see the things that I do. But I would be amiss if I didn't say it was what we do. It's certainly a team effort. It's so collaborative here at Madison, and it's the work of all of us that makes the magic happen. But being awarded, right? Like getting the chance to just be recognized with such a distinguished award has been quite overwhelming. It has been so joyful. I am just extremely grateful, right? Like when I stop and think, there's so many ways that I can try to channel just one word, but I can't do it, because I'm just flooded with so many emotions. But certainly just thankful, grateful, blessed that somebody would find that goodness in me to want to recognize me for the great efforts that are happening here at Madison and on Wheeling Island and in our community.
I listened to the interview of the phone call with you and your husband after you won, and I almost started tearing up when you made that phone call because he had no idea. Obviously, you had no idea. And what was that phone call like when you were able to make that call and tell him what just happened?
So when presented with, who would you like to call to let the news, get out first to? Of course, it was my husband who has a passion for education because he's an educator himself. We've been married for 15 years, but we met in college at West Virginia University. So we've kind of shared the passion just for children and education since we've met, So, of course, I wanted to reach out to him first to let him know. And at that time, he was in Missouri at a national conference, just forward thinking in his own professional learning there to get some training and professional development. So as soon as he picked up, and I was wondering, will he pick up? Because I knew, he was in sessions, but it was like halfway through the first ring and I could hear it in his voice that the news had already traveled to him. I believe our assistant superintendent, Mr. Jones, had just reached out to give him a heads up, you might want to keep an eye on social media, check this out. Your wife's doing something pretty big right now and being awarded with something, and we want you to share the moment, even though you physically aren't here. But when I heard his voice, that was just like reassurance again. Wow. He's my person, right? I can go home and talk with him just about anything when it comes to something I might be dealing with or something that I'm thinking about, because I know his opinion matters and it wraps around what's best for kids. And that's what I strive to do every day. What is best for children? So that was a really neat experience, like just to talk with him about it. And then I was a listener at that point because he's just going on and on and on. And it was just a great moment, right, for us to share. So I'm really thankful they captured that moment because I've listened to that. I've gone back and listened to our conversation a number of times.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
There's this, so the award that Miss Andrea Trio won, there will be 40 awarded in the 2022-2023 school year. She was the 10th to win this award this year. This network that you're about to be brought into, just because of this award, is going to be incredible. And the amount of people that you're going to be able to reach out to, what's it mean to you now at a larger scale? How you're going to be able to give back now and what you've been doing, but what you're going to be able to do now moving forward.
Yeah, so being surrounded by people that have received this award, over the past decades, being the one in West Virginia, to not only network nationwide, but then drilling it back down to home in our great state of West Virginia is pretty amazing. Surrounded by now a family, because that's what it is. They call themselves the Milken family, and it's so true. I had my first Zoom meeting last night with recipients that have won in the state of West Virginia. And it was just so neat to experience their way of thinking because it really aligns with my thought process and the way that I think. And that was really neat just to gather around and listen and share ideas and, prepare for the upcoming State Board of Education meeting that's going to be held in April and what that's going to look like. And then our opportunity to network with one another there and then push out with more educators in our state and nationwide about growing educators. And what does that mean? It's really a field that I feel like you're called to do. And it's then going out and recruiting great people to continue to do great things for children. And they're out there. So, it's finding a way to recruit those people to give back because that's what education is. It's a way of giving back in so many ways, right? So a really great networking experience. And I look forward to, just working in our own backyard here, to do that with educators, but then nationwide, wow, what an honor. So
it's really impressive because of what you just did, first off, but this age group that you're able to impact, kindergarten through 5th grade, it's such an important age group to get a good hold on these students because I still think about coaches and teachers and people that impacted me at this age. Now that I'm in my 20s, I think back and I want to call them all the time and say, thank you for this. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thanks for setting this foundation for me to be able to call back and reach out to you and thank you for everything you did for me in the classroom and then out in the community. Mm-hmm. I really like what that envelope said when you received your award. It said, future belongs to the educated. Yeah. And I thought that was so incredible just to hear you say, because all those students, they're too young right now to understand what you're doing for them. But 10, 15, 20 years down the road from now, that impact that you made on them is going to be incredible. So each day throughout, when you're the principal here, what are some things you really focus on to make sure that these students, you're leaving a long-lasting impact on them?
Relationship. That's a real quick answer because it's just true. I've seen it. I'm in my 19th year of education, and it always drills back to relationship. Relationship before learning, because that's what has to take place. These children have to feel safe. They have to feel loved. They have to be told that they matter and feel that they matter, And so when you develop relationships, and like you said, you can think back, and there is that one educator or educators that have made an impact. And when I think about this specific programmatic level of elementary, it's where it begins. It's where the foundation is built, and we have to make this foundation cement where there can't be sinking sand. We have to build so firm relationships at this level that when they go on, they can always have someone to turn back to. And so it's neat because now I have students that, are well out of college that I first had when I began that still reach out to me, and I'm in contact with. There are students here in Ohio County that when I taught a year at Triadelphia, I'll get a random Schoology message like, hi, Mrs. Trio, how's it going? Or even students that are now in middle school or even at Wheeling Park High School. I like to tap in and make sure and just do small check-ins, how's it going? Like, don't forget, like, you have so many fans that are in your corner and I'm cheering for you, but just finding the one and drilling it back down to relationship, I solely and firmly believe that is the key.
I've listened to you speak 3 or 4 times now just from interviews, and just walking through these halls when these kids see you, they're excited to say hello. And it's almost like when they see you, they feel comfortable and they know that they can reach out to you if they need anything. And that's the type of principal that I feel like our entire youth needs. Someone that's going to educate them, one. Number two, they're kind of a getaway for these kids just in case they ever need anything. Yeah. And these few times that I've heard you speak, it sounds like you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So when did you realize that this is the age group that you know that you can make a massive impact on?
So I started my career as a music educator, and I was in the classroom teaching kindergarten through 5th grade, and that's where it began. I did student teach, in all the programmatic levels, elementary, middle, and high. I really enjoyed high school when I left, and I thought, maybe that's where I want to begin. And then I was awarded the opportunity to start my career as an elementary music educator in Frederick County, Maryland, and I jumped on that opportunity, of course, right away, coming right out of the gates with my undergrad, and I thought, this is great, And so in my first day, I'll never forget, coming home and just reflecting like, well, that wasn't a mistake, right? Like I was placed in this grade level, in this school, in this county for a reason, and that's always been my way of thinking, even when 10 years in, my husband and I decided to move back home, right, to here, to the Ohio Valley. And I remember saying, man, I hope I can find an elementary job. And at that point, I had my educational leadership degree. And so I had started interviewing at different schools. I had interviewed at middle school level to be a principal, high school level to be a principal, and just never got the opportunity to receive the job, which was okay because looking back, like I realized like there was something even greater for me, right? And my design and my purpose is to just be with this grade level. So I taught 1 year when we came back at Triadelphia Middle School. Great experience. I really enjoyed my time there. But coming back to the connection that I knew I was really the best at doing because, I felt like I had crafted and molded, my personality to meet the needs of these kids at the elementary level, that's just where I'm meant to be. So
your background in music education, I thought one of the coolest things was when someone first told me your name, the award you just won, and how big of an impact you're making on the community. The principal who sings. And I thought that was so incredible for these students. Will you talk a little bit about how soothing that is for those students and kind of how you relate to them by singing these songs and little different things like that?
Absolutely. So in my first year as the principal here, so 7 years ago, we do what is one of the traditions of Madison for ever ago. You can talk with principals that were here, 50 years ago, and they will say, like, how's the caroling in the halls? Are we still doing that? And we do. And so when I think about like giving a gift and a talent that I have toward these kids, sure, I can love them and I can, be a listening ear and I can advocate, but like what was one of my gifts that I knew I had that I could ultimately use to give back? And that was my voice, being an undergrad and having the emphasis on voice in college. It's just something that I've crafted. I've taken voice lessons since I was in 6th grade. So when it came time for the caroling in the halls, I thought, that's how I'm going to give back because they hadn't really heard me sing a solo. It might have been like little things here and there in the hall, but like I stood up and I just sang to them, and the looks on their faces, like, that's my principal, like what? And and so that was just neat to see. And then it was a song that, the chorus part they knew, so they joined in on, and that will like forever be like an imprint of the memory that I have with these students those 7 years ago, the whole school joining in and singing with me. So I've sung the same song. I do it every year. And I just get up and I talk with them, right, about how important they are. And that at this time and at this season, like, I just want to bless them. And that's so awesome. I sing this song, Another big thing we do here are positive affirmations with our students, day in and day out, letting them know that they always can try their best, believe in who they are, know they deserve all good things and they should feel on top of the world, and it goes along with our school rules of being ready, respectful, and responsible, but just pouring out positive energy and words into their brains will help them start to believe it when we say it every day, right? And so that's my hope. So we put song to them. And so sometimes when they come down and I'm just working one-on-one with them, like they know before they leave and go back to their classroom, we're going to sing an affirmation together. And sometimes it's just like a lullaby, you know, like you're cradling a baby or a toddler, and they'll say like, Miss Trio, will you just sing it to me? And I'm like, sure. I will sing it to you. So I'll just like turn the music on and I'll just softly start to sing to them. Or if they're having trouble and I see them in the hall, I might pull them and take them to a quieter place. And I'm like, what do you need? Right? And I first ask them, like, what is it that you need? And sometimes it's, can we sing? Sure. Like Frozen, Let It Go was a big one, like last year, Yeah. So it just depends. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know that song, but I'll look that up, But it's just neat to be able to share that gift and talent that I personally have, been granted and I've developed over years to give back and to help soothe children.
And I know how humble you are and how you want everything to kind of be away from you, how you talked about in one of your interviews that you want everyone else to receive the success, and that's awesome. That's a great leader. What message are you stressing to your teachers that are here at the school with you? Because obviously they're doing a great job just as well, just like you, for this place to run this well. What's your biggest message that you're stressing to them every day that, hey, you need to get this message across to these students?
So it's probably like there's no I in team, right? And that's why we do work as a team, because it's not an I or me situation, but it's us and we. And it's how we interact with one another. It's how we collaborate. And just truly giving them like little upticks of, don't forget, we're a school family. Don't forget that even though, I say like, I was designed to do this, like you were designed to do this. You were called to be here. You could choose to go anywhere and teach anywhere. But for some reason, right, you landed here on 91 Zane Street. And the neat thing about it is that we do not have a big turnover when it comes to staff. And I always say, like, you will either come to Madison and you will get it and you will just absorb all that we are and be on board, or you won't. Either way, I'm going to respect, right? Because I want these teachers to not only believe in what they're doing matters, but who they are matters. And, I can lead this school and come in and day out, but I cannot be effective alone. And so we truly are a school family, and I've had so many people that have come over the years, and, previous principals and staff members that have worked here have reached out recently, and when they come back to visit, like there's just a vibe. And I think you even said that, it's like we're walking around, like it just looks good, it feels good. And it really does. So I really believe like we are planted here to take root, and amazing things can grow from that.
That's awesome. We have a few minutes left here, and I know you've been getting asked a ton of the same questions, so I wanted to have a little fun here with you. And these are these fast three. So last three questions are sponsored by Calcruth. I wanted to ask you, for your students that may not know this and some of your coworkers, last three questions here are all about you. What is your go-to restaurant, either here in West Virginia or when you were living in Maryland, that if you're craving a meal, it's the meal you have to have? What's your favorite restaurant you can relate to?
I'm probably going to go with like my hometown Roosevelt spaghetti. And if you've never had it, I would encourage you to go there. Just some like homemade, good Italian. Like I love the stories of my own family. Like my dad talking about like my grandma giving him the pot and taking it down, and the pot being filled with pasta, and then like they'd head back and that would feed the family like throughout the week. So
where's Roosevelt's?
It is in Bel Air, right across the river, right? So if you've not been there, try it out. It's awesome. It's really good. So that's probably like just like one of my go-tos. Like if I was coming home and I'm craving something that I haven't had in a while, right? Awesome. It's like a treat. So
second question, if you were to star in a movie moving forward, which actress would you want to play you as the lead role?
Oh my.
And it doesn't have to be an actress. It can be someone famous if you want them to play you in the role. Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV. Yeah. Like I really don't. Like and if I do have a channel on, it's something like I have two daughters, right? And they're third grade and kindergarten. So, but I just sat down this past weekend and watched a movie, and it had Julia Roberts in it, right? And I told my husband, I was like, I'm really a fan of her, because like I don't see a whole lot like that she's like really tried to do to make herself look that way. Yeah. She's just like beautiful as is, and like wrinkles and all now, as she ages. But yeah, I just
that'd be a great one.
Yeah,
we'll clip that and we'll send it to her and tell her to reach out.
All right.
Last question: what would you tell 18-year-old Andrea if you had any advice?
Oh wow. Just know there's always going to be a plan, and you don't have to be the one to figure it out.
Beautiful. Easy enough. Hey,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
We're going to be
Thank you.
following you. Thank you so much you do for this community, for the youth. What you're doing here is incredible, and I hope you can continue to do it for the next couple decades. So
Wow.
thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and take care.
Thanks.